in order for any changes in your life to happen, it has to first start with your thoughts, and really your thoughts about who you are as a person, the standard you set for yourself. And one of the things, one of my mentors, James Wedmore, through Business by Design, he always talks about you have to make decisions from your future best self. So if you're you can relate it to business or to acting. If you're brand new in acting and you are doing smaller bit parts, well, if you're thinking like a bit part player and you're thinking like a background player and, I just got one line. No, you got to project yourself forward to how does a leading actor work and operate? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are their habits like? And obviously those are two very different things. And you want to operate from that future top self.
Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments. And make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go.
Well, hello there. Look who it is. Brandon Knox. How are you?
I am good. Just rocking out here in the studio.
I see you've got my Elton John glasses on.
I do. Did you steal these from the Elton John?
No, of course not. He gave them to me.
Oh, of course. Tell us that story, Lars. Tell us the story of how Elton John handed these to you.
Well, he was performing at my birthday.
Ooh, yes.
And he said, you know what, Lars, the least I can do is give you my piano. And I said, Elton, can I call you L?
Yes.
L.
Yeah.
I don't need your piano, but I do need those glasses. And he was like, you drive a hard but fair bargain, Lars. Mm-hmm. Thank you for letting me keep my piano and thus my livelihood. I don't know what I would do without my piano, but I can part with these sunglasses. So he gave me the sunglasses and we hang on to them here in the studio.
And that's good of you, Lars. That's good of you. Leave the piano so that he can keep touring, although I think he's retired now. So at least you got one final birthday surprise and personal concert from the L. John.
I didn't have the heart to take his piano. I was like, I can't take your piano. How are you going to make a living? How are you possibly going to make a living without your piano?
Exactly.
And he said, thank you. Thank you. And then I think he took his piano and went and did a duet with Britney Spears right after that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What did they duet? Something stupid or?
I forget what they did. They legit, that part is real. I think they legit just did a duet recently. It was a remake of an Elton John song. I forget which song. Maybe Tiny Dancer. They might have redone Tiny Dancer.
That would be great as a duet. I love that song.
If there's only one way, look it up. Look up Britney Spears, Elton John while we're on it. We don't want to leave people hanging. I know everyone watching your podcast today tuned in to find out the latest Britney Spears, Elton John news, and that's why you're here today, and we will deliver the goods. Brandon, what does the internet say?
The duet is Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancer. You are 100% right.
See, I stay up on my pop culture. Thank you. Thank you, Hollywood Reporter and TMZ. Yes. Everyone else, welcome to episode 104 here. Brandon's in studio. I am also in studio here. I want to tell you, Brandon, I don't know if you know about this, but I'm slightly coming down from a little bit, but I'm going to climb right back up there. So on Saturday night, we had a rain out. I'm going to say a quote unquote rain out in Comedy Alley. Mm-hmm. The forecast looked terrible, looked like it was going to be raining. So we were like on the fence, are we going to do it or not? So I pulled the plug. As it turned out, we probably didn't have to pull the plug, but then it's tough when it's raining, and then it's like the people who have tickets, are they going to come? Are the comedians going to come? Do they need to travel or not? So we ended up erring on the side of rain, which I'll never do again. As soon as I did it, I was like, fuck, I would way rather be having a show right now. So I should just regardless of the forecast, I'm just going to think, what's the best possible outcome? Best possible outcome is we have an amazing show. Our audience loves it. Comedians love it. So I won't cancel it until the moment of, with the exception of if it's already pouring rain, but it wasn't raining yet, but the forecast looked like it was going to be rained out. So long story short, I Saturday night felt sorry for myself and was like, man, I would rather be doing a show. But then I was like, screw that. I want to make the most of it. And then what I did, not literally, figuratively lit myself on fire. And I was on absolute fire. You want to know what I did?
What did you do?
Everything.
Ooh.
You ever have one of those days where I just got everything done? And I'm not talking about everything on my to-do list. I'm talking about everything, full stop, period. I just got everything done. I was like, what do I need to do? How about I just do everything? So it was a full spring cleaning in the fall, which I believe they call that autumn cleaning. It was like a spring cleaning, but it was in the fall. Full studio. I think I touched everything that I own. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it feels good. I've touched and accounted for every physical item that I own here in the studio,
nice,
including throwing a lot of things out, which is one of the best things in the world. I Marie Kondoed the shit out of this place, got rid of a bunch of garbage, got rid of a bunch of old stuff, reorganized everything, made everything look nice, replied to a bunch of emails, things that were like, you ever have things around your place that need to be repaired, but you need to take it somewhere to get it repaired? Got all that done, got all the bills paid, got all the follow-up emails paid, all the little like things that I've thought of. I literally I did everything, and then I would look around and be like, what else can I do? Boom, that, boom, that, boom, that. And fun fact about me, when I clean / organize, I'm like a Roomba. Instead of just focusing on one area and doing that, I like walk over here. I'll find a book. I'll walk over here, put the book down, and then I'll dust that off, and then I'll pick something else and bring it to the kitchen, and then I'll wash some dishes, and then I'll find something and bring it to the bathroom, and I'll wipe down the bathroom mirror. I just bounce around for like 7 hours, and I literally did everything. And then I made up more things to do. Just crushed it. You know what it was like? It was the day. Have you ever had the day before a vacation where you're going to fly somewhere and you're like, oh shit, I have to get all this stuff done because I'm going away for 2 weeks. So I did everything. Everything's done. Now I just sit back, relax, and wait for the checks to roll in. It's all done. I was on fire. Not only was I still am. I had to take a little bit of a break because it's like you can't do everything always. So I slowed down a little bit in the last couple of days, but I'm about to fire it back up again. I got more done in that 24-hour span, Saturday night and Sunday, where it was just like, I'm just crushing everything. Throw more at me. It was incredible.
And Lars makes this sound like...
You see what I'm doing here?
Oh, yeah. Please give yourself a pat on the back. I love it.
So much done. Bunch of stuff on the website, bunch of stuff behind the scenes, website, social media. We're hiring some new people. We brought some new people on. We're building some new software tools for members, making the members experience better, making things better for the clients. Some Comedy Alley spritz up here, clean the alley, clean the whole back area there. We're looking at maybe a power wash and a paint job for Comedy Alley.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it.
Grab some more gear. Yeah, totally. It was, I was on fire. I did everything.
Lars loves to reorganize the studio. I was gone for 2 days, and I came back and everything is completely different, and it's great. It's a lot more efficient. Lars always like upgrades everything and makes sure that everything runs very smoothly. But it's always funny to leave like, and then 2 days later everything is just completely changed, and it's great. It's really fun to walk into.
Yeah, it's
Because like you're expecting one way, and then you walk in, you're like, this wasn't here before, was it?
Right. Yeah, I Marie Kondo / Feng Shui'd the shit out of everything. I'm like, this can't be here. This doesn't make sense. Those things are too close. They need to be apart.
Mm-hmm.
I moved some things on the walls. I put some things up on the walls. Stuff that was just like sitting around. I finally got rid of it one way or the other, or things that I had to like mail out or ship out or returns. Just literally did everything. But that's one of my favorite things is reorganizing. And I would say re-optimizing. It's actually something I learned from a buddy of mine in university. We used to always razz him for it, but like once a month or once every 2 months, he would always rearrange his room. And so we'd walk in and his dresser's in a different spot, his bed's in a different spot, his lamps are in a different spot. He's got new posters, different posters. One time he even made his bed. The weirdest thing ever is like, usually a bed is like tucked away in a corner or in the middle of the room. One time he put his bed diagonal coming out of a corner of the room, which was like you never see that. Like you walk into a square room and the bed's diagonal coming out of a corner. But shout out to Jason Fishpool. He taught me that, and we used to bug him where we'd be like, just leave well enough alone, make sense of it, like just set it up somewhere efficiently and then work with that. But he was constantly changing it. And I like that too, because there's a rejuvenating feeling to it. There's a new feeling of like, oh, this is a little bigger and better. Like this is Laughing Vikings Actors Audition Club 3.0 or whatever we're on. We're probably on like 45.0 by now. But yeah, getting rid of things made more room, make it more efficient. In that back room, all the equipments, the lighting, the gear, the monitors, the SD cards, the batteries, making all of that stuff more accessible and better organized. Yeah, it's a common. I think I suggest it. Do it in your life. Whatever status quo you've accepted, every once in a while, I would say quarterly at minimum. At minimum quarterly, just be like, how can I just rehaul everything? And you're like, wow, now this is how I live. Oh, you want to know something else? This is actually big. They should be arriving this week. For the first time in my life, I, Joe Lars Larson, am the proud owner of a pair of Nike Air Jordan shoes. I finally got myself a pair of Jordans.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I saw them yesterday, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, I like those shoes.
I'm not talking about the shoes I'm wearing now. These are just fill-ins until the Jordans arrive. These are other shoes. So here's something about me is I come from like very middle-class background, like obviously middle-class North American white privilege. Hello. But not like from money. My parents were teachers, so we were middle class. It's like we never had like we never lacked, but we also didn't have all the we didn't have boats and jet skis and top of the line equipment. Like it wasn't like I could just like wish for something and all of a sudden it showed up. So there was a little bit of frugality and a little bit of paying attention to bills and price tags. And one of the things that I've carried over from that as an adult is I've always been very frugal with running shoes. Like I buy my running shoes at like Payless or Winners, and kind of the mark would be like I would choose style over price, like something that just looks kind of cool or is the right style, but like $40 to $60. And I would never really, with a rare exception when I was a kid with baseball cleats, I might spend back then $100 or $120 on fancy Nike baseball cleats or something. But I've always been very frugal. So the other day I bought a pair of running shoes from Winners for like whatever they are, $45, $50. They look cool. They felt all right. And then they fell apart within like 2 weeks. I like to lace my shoes up tight, and I laced them up and the lace just ripped the loopholes right out of it. So I brought them back to Winners, and I got these ones as they replaced these ones. These ones are great. I don't know what they are. Again, kind of no name, just casual shoes. But in the meantime,
I was like, fuck it. I'm going to buy some top-notch athletic shoes. I want them for the gym. I want them to go on runs when I'm doing the boxing workouts. So I went on, started searching cross trainers, stumbled across a pair of Air Jordans, and I'm like, I like the look of these. And I was like, you know what? I've never owned Jordans. I've never splurged. There's a little bit of like scarcity minded, like I'm like penny pinching over $60 versus $80 versus 100. They were 160. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to get some solid shoes. I've never owned a pair of Jordans before. I'm going to do it. I don't really have any reason that I should be sweating the difference between 40, 60, 80 or 100. It's like, it's $100. It's nothing. So I ordered them. And the other reason I ordered them is specifically Jordans is I just like the idea of like Michael Jordan is such an icon of excellence and confidence and championships and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna pay a little more to give myself a reminder that the world is abundant. I'm abundant. So I can pretty much make money on demand, and everything is going well business wise and personal wise. And I'm gonna have the constant reminder of being a fucking champion like Jordan everywhere I walk around. So it was a big moment to me. I was proud of myself. I was like, and again, I want to just note how white privilege this entire conversation is, where I'm like, oh, what a good job I've done buying myself a pair of $180 running shoes. But I'd never done it before. So I was like, I'm going to splurge and just settle into my future abundant self, starting with my Air Jordan. So thank you, Michael Jordan. Thank you, Nike.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations on buying the shoes, Lars. Like that's always a big step. I do. I'm very similar in the fact that I don't want to spend a lot of money on, you know, the things that I wear, and I do try to keep things on a budget, you know. But yeah, no, that's great. Good for you. That's a big moment.
Sometimes you got to splurge for yourself. Yeah.
Treat yourself.
It sounds ridiculous. Some of you might be listening like, what are these guys talking about? But there is a difference, like making that switch from scarcity to abundance.
Yeah.
Of like worrying, and then like what am I actually thinking? Especially like price with certain things, electronics, or maybe certain shoes or sports equipment. Spending like half a day or a day price comparison shopping, where then all of a sudden you're not calculating what you're not calculating. You're trying to save $20 or $40, but then you spend 6 hours doing it, which means you're telling yourself you're worth $5 an hour, which is a terrible way to think about yourself. So it's also about raising what your time is worth and what your time is spent. And as an actor, as a performer, our time is at the top level, thousands and thousands of dollars an hour, or thousands of dollars a day, $1,000, $5,000 a day. If you're on stage as a comedian, you're getting paid thousands of dollars for 1 hour of performing.
So that's my new Jordan. So stay tuned for my Jordans. And this is my call to action to all of you. If there's something that you normally skimp on because you have the scarcity minded or you're worried about bills, it's nice when it's a reward. So maybe do something cool. For me, it was kind of a reward of getting all that shit done. It was like, man, now I deserve a reward. But whether it's a nice dress or a cool jacket or a new pair of sunglasses or some shoes, go ahead and treat yourself. Go buy something. Support the economy. Apparently we're in a recession, so
go do small businesses
and buy something. And there's also something to say for buying something. Like I was thinking I'm saving money buying $40, $50 pair of shoes, but if they fall apart, then you're not saving any money. So as it turned out, they just gave me a refund and a store credit, and I've got these ones now that aren't really gym shoes, but they're just casuals.
I like them. They're a good color.
These are great. Yeah, I got a lot of blue stuff too, so they match. Like wearing a blue hat with blue shoes. You know, I match. They say if you're wearing hats and shoes are a good thing to, especially hat, shoes, belt. If you can match those all the way through, they're like, that guy's got style. And this is coming from a guy who's colorblind. Yeah, that's good. So that's that. Just on fire, man. I think part of the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, we might have touched on it last week, was just that idea of identity. in order for any changes in your life to happen, it has to first start with your thoughts, and really your thoughts about who you are as a person, the standard you set for yourself. And one of the things, one of my mentors, James Wedmore, through Business by Design, he always talks about you have to make decisions from your future best self. So if you're we'll relate it to, you can relate it to business or to acting. If you're brand new in acting and you are doing smaller bit parts, well, if you're thinking like a bit part player and you're thinking like a background player and, oh, I just got one line. No, you got to project yourself forward to how does a leading actor work and operate? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are their habits like? And obviously those are two very different things. And you want to operate from that future top self. Or from a business owner, you, like for me, part of this expansion is me realizing I have to act like a digital CEO for Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club. And I got to look forward, like at top level, if this is an international global company with multiple locations and hundreds of actors and performers being involved, then what does that business operate? What does it look like? How does it operate? What's my role and what's my area of focus there? Which is why we're bringing on new session directors, why we're bringing on virtual assistants and remote editors and podcast editors and all that kind of stuff. Is instead of thinking where are we now and scrambling to operate based on present or past tense. The worst is when you operate from a past identity. A lot of people do that. You think based on your limitations, stories you've heard, stories you told yourself, stories your family's said to you, things, remarks you've collected over the years about who you are, that minimize who you are. And then you act according to your past and you never break free or you never get to a next level because in your head, your identity is tied to something a teacher or your parents shit talked you into thinking and believing about yourself. So it's about who do you want to be and then start acting like that person now. And what ends up happening is you live into that future based on having those thoughts and that identity. And so like being, and a big thing for everyone, whether it's actors or business people or just in your own family, is operating from a role model standpoint. So realizing that it's not just about you, realizing that your family members, your friends, your peer group, your coworkers, the general public, people are always watching and people are always seeing what you're doing. And the more you can elevate yourself, the more you'll have a positive impact on those people around you. People see you as a role model and be like, wow, that person's kind of got his shit together. Or when the shit gets tough, that person doesn't lose their mind. They stay calm and they stay collected and they still seem positive. And then people will look to that.
If that person's freaking out, everyone else is freaking out. So if I came out of the cockpit of a plane and was like, oh my God, everything's terrible. What the fuck is going on? You would be like, oh shit. But if I come out and I'm like, now we've got we're dealing with this right now. Everyone stay calm and collected. Note that your inflatables are under your seat and your oxygen mask, should we need it, is right here, and stay calm and collected. That's a lot better feeling than being the person who's losing their shit and freaking out. So hopefully that makes sense. Be a role model, live into your future self, your highest self, and remind yourself every day, is the person I want to be the person I'm acting like and acting from right now? And if not, there's a disconnect there. And often we're living into our past rather than living into our future. That's my TED Talk for today.
Well done. Well done.
Yes, my Lars.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. I've been working a lot more on my music or getting better at understanding music. Because I want to be in music theater more. I miss it. It was a lot of fun, and I love the genre, and I'm continuously focusing on learning that aspect of it, so I'm confident when I step on stage and I'm working with somebody else on it. And so that's something I'm focusing on right now. Is I want to get better at that. I want to. And maybe it's a good idea to focus on learning an instrument, and because I never did learn that growing up, and so I should actually pick something and learn that.
Yeah, you can borrow the slide whistle if you want.
Ooh, Brandon Knox, professional slide whistler.
That's interesting you say that, because I remember not too long ago you were sort of lamenting and cursing musical theater, like you were fed up with it. I think you maybe, without naming names or situations, I think you had maybe a negative experience that turned you off it for a while, and you were like, I might remember you specifically saying "fuck musical theater" at one point, or like, I never want to do that again, or I've had enough. So nice, good to see you back in the musical world. And for just continuing on that TED Talk rant about living into your highest self, for an actor, it's like, decide what you want and what that person's going to look like, and then what are your daily routines and thoughts and habits look like. For a leading actor, that probably means you're doing daily warm-ups, daily workouts, you're working on monologues, you're working on texts, maybe you're spending time networking and collaborating with other actors, other directors, filmmakers, or at least part of your day is happening, creating community or developing relationships. Someone who's a lead actor as well, if you're aspiring to be at that level, likely has a team around them too. So it's about building that team. What's your relationship like with your agent, with your manager, publicist, accountant, all of those people? Is just realizing, if top level you want to be like that A-list type person, well, they're almost a whole industry or a company in and of themselves. So start thinking like that and start building that. Can you, even as an actor, to pick up a virtual assistant or a personal assistant where they're handling maybe some of your social media, or some of your social media management, or even some of your outreach, or maybe they're helping you develop a website, or little things like that. Thinking of what's your zone of genius as a performer, it's really going to be, you want to be on stage, on set, or you're rehearsing, or you're writing, or you're working on like the business side of things, your marketing side of things behind the scenes. All those little things where it's like, it's not your zone of genius, but it needs to get done. But if you spend time doing it, then you're not acting, or you're not rehearsing, or you're not reading, or you're not working on your voice or your body. Just figuring out ways to stay in your zone of genius, because like you as an actor, as a union actor, your pay rate is $1,500 a day at kind of minimum there, if you consider buyouts, I guess. But even if it's, just make it simple, call it $1,000 a day, that's like it's $100+ an hour for an 8-hour day. I know that film days are longer, but figure out that hourly rate and then start to think, okay, if at top level I'm paid $1,000 a day, I can't spend my day doing $5 a day tasks or $5 an hour tasks. So figuring out how to stay in that zone of, are you rehearsing? Are you writing? Are you on set? Are you on stage? Are you auditioning? Or are you working on the business? And everything else is probably taking you off that path if you're spending too much time with it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. What else can we chat about? Chit chat.
Have you had any realizations this week? And
I mean, I think that's the big one. I've been on a lot of calls for the business, and a lot of business coaching, and a lot of that is just raising your own personal standards. What opportunities can I be creating? Does that mean applying for more castings and auditioning more? Does that mean getting your profiles up on all these casting sites? Does that mean putting together an email campaign or a direct message campaign where you're reaching out to industry people to connect with them and attend events? Does that mean you're putting together your pitch packages and your Bible for your own writing projects? But just really asking yourself, are you going after everything that you want? Camille Blott is releasing a new single this week, and it's called "Playing Small." And that whole song is about deciding that you're not going to play small anymore, that you're going to go up to the plate, take big swings, hit big home runs, and not settling for less. And often it's our own, like, the biggest obstacle in everyone's life is themselves, no question, unless you're in an abusive relationship, or if you're in a country where you're being oppressed, or you're in prison, or you're refugee, or things like that where you're having those kind of issues. Obviously, people in a war-torn country aren't free to do what we are to do, so we're very lucky. But assuming you're in a family situation and in a political situation where you don't have those constraints, we are by far our number one obstacle. And most of that is just who we think we are in our heads limits us if we're not thinking top level. So it's about releasing all those shackles and then just growing into that full person and just realizing nobody's stopping you. And the challenge too is we all have these little voices, like social media voices, a friend you heard, an old high school rival, a teacher you didn't like, someone in your family, a relative who they just said something in your ear and they said it one time and it stuck in your head. Maybe they don't even remember it. And they're like, but you're walking around with it thinking like, oh yeah, so-and-so, I could never do this. Or so-and-so said, who do you think you are for thinking that you can do this? Mm-hmm. And stuck with you. They might have forgot about it forever. And maybe they would even feel bad hearing that you think that because of that one thing. They'd be like, oh, that was just a thing I said one time. I didn't mean that to ruin your dreams for your entire life. So it's just about releasing those shackles and then stepping up. What can I be doing if I'm full bore every day, week in, week out? Now, not saying there's also a balance with that hustle mentality. You don't need to be hustle. It's that weird balance of going after things and fighting for things, but also trusting the universe. I think a lot of success just comes from attracting those positive things to you rather than feeling like you got to go fight tooth and nail and you got to stay up and burn the candle at both ends and hustle and get and more. A lot of it comes from just living in a state of peace and tranquility and trusting that all things are going to come to you in the right time and that there's divine timing to the universe. So it's that weird balance of hustle, but also patience.
Mm-hmm. And like, I'll talk a little bit about this. I'm doing a pantomime of Cinderella, and I didn't actually audition for this production. I auditioned for a production with the same company. It was called the P Monster or something like that. And I did an audition with them, and like it went really well. Unfortunately, they didn't cast me in that show, but they kept me in mind and emailed me and said, hey, would you like to do one of the roles in this production? We really want to work with you. And so that's how I ended up becoming a part of this new production, is because I had auditioned previously and didn't get it, but they still liked my audition and wanted to work with me. And I had known a couple of them before. And now I am working with them. So it does really come down to patience and like understanding that I might not get this one, but it's going to put me in line for another one, maybe even something better down the line.
Right.
And like, also to come back to music theater again, I've had people say like, oh, well, your voice is kind of like, choir. Like you're good in a choir, but other than that, like it's okay. And like, I've had bad experiences in music theater before. And like it has hurt. It's hurt. And it's coming to the realization that yes, that was a bad experience, but you grew from it. You got better. You are the thing that makes each production better by just being you. And that's so much more important than listening to someone say, oh, like you're good in a choir, but you can't really do a solo. Don't listen to them. Like it's hard. It's hard because it eats away at you. And you're like, well, why did they say that to me? And how could they say that to me? And maybe they're right. But it's tuning that all out and listening to you and trusting your gut and trusting your heart and trusting your mind, because in the end, you know what's right for you. And you know what feels good and what makes you excited to go in the next day to do more and to learn more. And the more you're fighting to learn and the more you're fighting to get better, and like you talked about before, you're attracting better things into your life because you are striving to be better. You're
Right.
striving to get somewhere
Right.
that's not just, I need this job.
Right.
Like
Right.
I always love the first song in a chorus line, which is, I really need this job. And it's a bunch of dancers, and they're dancing their hearts out for this guy, and they have no idea how many people he needs, how many boys, how many girls, or non-binary or anything, and they're just dancing their hearts out, hoping that they get this one job. But it's not about getting that one job. It's setting yourself up for a career that is full of wonderful roles that you absolutely love. Because
Right.
that's what you want in this career. And that's what it is. It's a career. It is not something that just happens overnight. Yes, that there are cases where that does happen, but those are few and far between.
Right. And those people who get things overnight or quick, they have a life and a career, so they would still have to maintain that too. So just because something great happened early on, whether they quote unquote earned it or not, it happened, but then that goes away. It's like nobody really has one series or one show or whatever that they do forever, and that's it. I mean, again, there might be rare exceptions, and I think you mentioned something about hearing criticism too. It's some of it, like sometimes you got to figure out a muscle of taking criticism or looking at stuff from haters, if you wanted to call it that, and seeing, is there a grain of truth in that? Is there something that I could have done differently? And then letting it go, knowing that, okay, that was just a moment in time. Something like voice, for example, there's the reason that there's voice and speech teachers and coaches is because it's learnable, and your voice can grow, voice can grow and change, and you learn, and your ear gets better and your voice gets better. So all that changes. And just recognizing that you really are never who you were in the past. It's always like, it's a new now, and then it's the future. Whatever happened in the past is the past, but there's an opportunity for new beginnings and new endings at any point. Or you hear that saying, it's never too late to become who you were always going to be, or something.
Like, always meant to be.
Yeah, something like that. So making sure that you fight for what you want. Don't let other people limit you either, but don't let your own thoughts limit you too. Anything else we want to say on that?
No. Yeah. Keep fighting to be better. Keep fighting to do what you love. And that's what it's all about. And like, find the fun. Right. Sometimes it's hard to find, but the more you strive to find the fun in anything that you're doing, the more enjoyment you're going to get out of it. And the more you're willing to put more, the more fun it is, the more you're willing to put yourself on the line to do it.
Right. And the nice thing about fun is fun. And so you're going to enjoy the process. And that's really what you want, is you want to be enjoying the journey, not the destination. And if you're the type of person, if you're always so hyper focused on the next booking, the next paycheck, the next IMDb credit, you're often missing out. And I've been guilty of that too. Where you're just never really present and grateful for what you have right in front of you, because you're always, our stupid human brain is always finding more. What's the next thing? And then we end up missing all these blessings that we're surrounded by. Or I think many people have had this, is I've booked something big and I'm already thinking about when it comes out, rather than focusing on my prep and my shoot days and being fully present there. I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing when this comes out, and I get the demo reel and I can show this to this casting director and this casting director, and this thing is going to launch me to the next thing, where great that I'm connecting the dots and in my mind building stepping stones and seeing things map out and develop in the future. But also I got to take a minute sometimes to just be present and realize that stuff's going to come. Often we can miss a lot of blessings in our life because we're always focused on the next thing. And you hear that saying of your past self. There's versions of your past self that would be like freaking out, ecstatic to know where you are today. But often by the time we get there today, we're just still thinking about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you die, and you're just never really satisfied because you were never just grateful for what you had right now. So enjoying the journey and enjoying the process. And if you love the process, then you just love the game. And then it's like win or lose. It's like, well, win or lose, I played the game that I wanted to play all my life. So the bookings came and bookings went, and some things worked out and some things didn't. But you always know that you were in the game and you're playing the game that you wanted, rather than sitting on the sidelines thinking, oh, that looks fun, I would love to do that, but I'm going to stay here and do this crappy job that I hate. That's not a life that you want to be living either. So take big swings, live in the now, be grateful, love the process, and balance fighting for what you want with patience and trust, and trusting the universe that everything, if you just chill out, the universe is designed to make things happen for you. So it'll happen for you. Yeah. I like this. So went a little meta on this. What do you got here? You want to make sure you're letting people know we're on TikTok?
Yeah. So we started. Yeah, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go.
We're on TikTok right now. We're on TikTok. We're on the TikTok.
We're on the
TikTok. We got two separate accounts. The comedy account, which is mostly stand-up, is going to be Laughing Vikings, and all the acting and audition-related content is going to be at Actors Audition Club. So if you're on TikTok, hit us up there. Of course, we're also on Instagram and Facebook as well. You can hit us up on YouTube, and wherever you're watching or listening from, make sure that you subscribe to one of the podcasts. Hit those notifications. We're putting out an episode every week, and we've been doing that every week since 2 years ago, I guess.
2021,
yeah. Also, actors out there, if you missed our live training series, there's still time. You can get instant access to our Audition Hero virtual training series. Go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero. When you register, you'll get access to all the 3 days video replays, and you can take a look at that. And what did we do? And we spent 3 days talking about how to up-level your auditions, how to improve your audition process, and how to start operating as a professional using professional systems and processes during your audition process to result in more bookings for TV and film. So register, go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero.
And then if you do want to join Actors Audition Club, we have closed the membership right now, but we are thinking about opening it up again in October or November. So if you want to join the wait list to become a part of Actors Audition Club, please join us now. The link is laughingvikings.com/join. We want you on our team.
Right. And what that'll do is that'll get you on the priority wait list. So when we do open the doors, you'll get a sneak peek. You'll be first to be notified even before we open it to the public. So everyone on that waiting list has an opportunity to join. And the reason that we do that, we do it in waves so that we can make sure to onboard our new members. We can spend time and focus on them, make sure that they're comfortable with their audition process, that we can get to know them, get to work with them, and then we close it up. But if you want to hop on that priority wait list, go to laughingvikings.com/join, and you'll hear about the next time we open her up. You got a quote to inspire our week here?
I do, and it comes from a wonderful performer. You may have seen her in a couple of small little movies, one of which being Legally Blonde. So our quote today comes from Reese Witherspoon, and she says, "There's something timeless and important about making people laugh, about being the right spot in their day." And I think that's so wonderful to hear as a performer, especially as you are a comedian, Lars, like getting those laughs and delivering those laughs and taking the stress out of someone's day is partly why we do this. We love what we do, and we want to make each performer and each person that comes to see Comedy Alley or comes to work on an audition session, We want to make sure that they're laughing and having fun with what they're doing. And the more you're doing that, the more it envelops the audience and gets them on your side. And that's a wonderful thing. And you can be that pick me up in a day. You can lift up someone's spirits if they're having a really crummy day. You get to be that pick me up, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, one of the reasons I love being a stand-up comic and being an actor is because I love stand-up comics and I love actors, and I think it's definitely the road less traveled. But I think ultimately people do it because it's a passion and it's a level of expression that has to get out of you as a human. But the at its purest level, it's to provide storytelling opportunities to other people. And I love comedians for that reason, is they're in a way very selfless to be gallivanting around the country, performing for strangers just to make them laugh and enjoy a night out is I think a very noble profession and something that I really take a lot of pride in. And I love people who have been that courageous to buck the trend or the societal norm of, oh, I got to get a 9-to-5 and got to get a salary and I work my X number of years at a corporation, versus people who are like, no, this is the thing that I'm into and I'm just going to figure out a way to make this work. And this is the life I want to live, and I'm going to do it my way, in the words of Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. We love actors. We love comedians. And you guys know our mission here at Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club is to uplift, empower, and inspire a global audience of 1 billion people by helping actors and comedians share their stories via TV, film, and live performances. So that is specifically what we do. And I really do believe actors and performers and artists of any kind are really unicorns in a world of horses. I think they're special, and I think they're very magical people, and that's why I've had a lot of fun building a business around that, supporting them and providing resources and tools and a community and a clubhouse atmosphere here for those people, because they're just some of my favorite people. Sometimes to the point where occasionally I think like I gotta have more quote unquote regular people in my life, because it's like you get disconnected. It's like after a few years of all your conversations being with comedians and actors, you can become a little disconnected. Oh, there's a real world and real life. Like, oh, there's problems in the world. We're all off in Never Land while the world is burning. But that's also why we exist too, is to provide some levity in some of those times of darkness. So yeah, love it. Speaking of that, make sure to check out Comedy Alley every Friday, Saturday. We don't have too many shows left. It's seasonal. We go up to Halloween weekend. So if you want to join us for a few more shows, you got the rest of September and October. Go to laughingvikings.com/Comedy Alley. And if you go to our Instagram, you'll see the upcoming acts and the upcoming lineups. But you can join us in our intimate outdoor venue, pro comedians, and you can escape some of those family issues, some of those societal issues. Maybe you got parts of your life that aren't the best right now. Well, take a load off and just sit back, relax, smile, laugh, and remember what they say: laughter is the best medicine. Mm-hmm. So maybe you don't need more penicillin. Maybe you need some chuckles. Not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Lars told me to stop taking my insulin and just go to a comedy show. Listen to your doctor.
Mary Poppins said to have sugar with your medicine, and that can't be great either.
A spoonful of sugar makes the diabetes medicine go down. I think that's what she said.
There you go.
Yeah. So, thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Go out there, be your best, elevate yourself, grow, hustle, but also with the patience and gratitude that in due time you're going to get everything that you desire in your life. All your dreams are going to come true. Because here at Laughing Vikings Actors Audition Club, what are we doing? We're making dreams come true in 2022. It rhymes. It's a good one.
It does. All right. Thank you, everyone who tuned in today. Please follow us on all the podcast platforms and on TikTok.
Smash those buttons.
Smash them all.
Smash
them. Have a fantastic week. We love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. All the best. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.